Welcome back to this new edition of News Today, a series where we briefly discuss and analyze important news of the day. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. Full report of Household Consumption Expenditure Survey 2022-23 has been released. UNESCO launches new initiatives for greening education in classrooms. RBI Monetary Policy Committee keeps the repo rate unchanged. Boeing Starliner successfully docks NASA crew at International Space Station. GTRI released Building Better, India's Path to Superior Quality Infrastructure report. 16th meeting of the OECD and G20 Inclusive Framework on Base Erosion and Profit Shifting concluded. Moving ahead with the updates from the world of economic surveys, the full report of the Household Consumption Expenditure Survey for 2022-23 has been released by the National Sample Survey Office. A fact sheet and key highlights from this extensive survey were initially shared in February. The Household Consumption Expenditure Survey is meticulously designed to gather information on the consumption patterns of goods and services by households. Let's delve into the key findings of this crucial survey. First, there's been a noticeable fall in the Gini coefficient for both rural and urban spending between 2011-12 and 2022-23. For those unfamiliar, the Gini coefficient measures inequality, where 0 indicates perfect equality and 1 represents perfect inequality. In terms of spending, the average estimated monthly per capita consumption expenditure in 2022-23 stands at Rs 3,773 in rural India and 6,459 in urban India. A significant insight from the survey is the share of expenditure on food, which is 46% in rural areas and 39% in urban areas. Now, why is the HCES so vital? This survey helps us understand the consumption patterns, standard of living, and overall well-being of households across the country. Its findings play a key role in reviewing critical economic indicators such as GDP, poverty levels, and consumer price inflation. The data derived from this survey is essential for planning, policy making, and further statistical analysis by government organizations, academics, researchers, and scholars. At last, let's also discuss a bit about the National Sample Survey Office. It is headed by the Director General and has been conducting large-scale sample surveys across various fields on an all-India basis since 1950. The NSSO primarily collects data through nationwide household surveys on diverse socio-economic subjects, including the Annual Survey of Industries. The NSSO operates under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. In conclusion, the Household Consumption Expenditure Survey 2022-23 provides valuable insights into the economic landscape of India. The fall in the Gini coefficient, detailed expenditure patterns, and comprehensive data utilization underscore the importance of this survey in shaping our understanding of economic well-being and guiding future policies. Ahead in the news, in exciting news on the field of education and environmental sustainability, UNESCO has just launched 2 groundbreaking initiatives aimed at making education greener and more climate-focused. UNESCO has introduced 2 new tools under the Greening Education Partnership, the Greening Curriculum Guidance and the Green School Quality Standards. First up, the Greening Curriculum Guidance. This practical manual is groundbreaking as it provides for the first time a common understanding of what climate education should consist of. It also offers detailed guidance on how countries can mainstream environmental topics across their curricula with clear expected learning outcomes. Moving on to the Green School Quality Standards, these standards set the minimum requirements for creating a green school by promoting an action-oriented approach. Now let's talk a bit about the Greening Education Partnership itself. This global initiative comprises 80 member states and is dedicated to helping countries tackle the climate crisis by harnessing the power of education. The main objective is to ensure all learners acquire the necessary knowledge, skills, values, attitudes, and actions to address climate change and promote sustainable development. The partnership is built on 4 key pillars. First is greening schools. The goal here is for all schools to achieve Green School accreditation and address climate change through their teaching, facilities, and operations. Second is greening curriculum. This involves integrating climate education into school curricula, technical and vocational education and training, workplace skills development, and more. Third is greening teacher training and education systems capacities. This focuses on incorporating climate education into the development of school capacities. And fourth is greening communities. The aim is to strengthen community resilience through community learning centers and learning cities. Additionally, let's touch on how this initiative aligns with the National Education Policy of 2020 of India. The policy aims to infuse climate literacy into mainstream subjects and integrate environmental awareness for water and resource conservation into curriculum. It also emphasizes the inclusion of traditional ways of learning and sustainable practices. At last, let's also discuss the relation between education and climate change. A recent UNESCO survey reveals that 50% of 100 countries do not mention climate change in their curriculum, highlighting a significant gap in climate education. Consequently, around 70% of young people are unable to explain climate disruption. Interestingly, a higher level of education correlates with a greater likelihood of engaging in adaptation actions. Moreover, increasing girls' education can indirectly mitigate climate change by influencing demographic growth, demonstrating the multifaceted impact of education on environmental sustainability. It's clear that UNESCO's new initiatives are paving the way for a more sustainable and climate-aware future in education. We look forward to seeing how these tools will be implemented globally to benefit both current and future generations. Moving on to the next news. In significant updates from the financial world, the Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Committee has made some crucial announcements in its latest bi-monthly meeting. Let's dive into the details. The RBI Monetary Policy Committee has decided to keep the repo rate unchanged. For those who might not know, the repo rate is the rate at which the central bank lends money to commercial banks against the collateral of government and other approved securities. Now let's talk about some additional steps on developmental and regulatory policies announced by the RBI. One significant move is the rationalization of export and import regulations under the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. This step is aimed to promoting ease of doing business for all stakeholders. Next, the RBI has proposed the setup of a Digital Payments Intelligence Platform or DPIP. This platform will leverage advanced technology to curb payment fraud, making digital transactions more secure for everyone. To ensure the effective implementation of DPIP, the RBI has constituted a committee led by AP Hota to examine various aspects of setting up a digital public infrastructure for the platform. Moving on, the RBI has also proposed to bring UPI Lite into the e-mandate framework by enabling an auto-replenishment feature for the UPI Lite wallet. Another important proposal is the revision of the definition of bulk deposits. For scheduled commercial banks, excluding regional rural banks and small finance banks, bulk deposits will now be defined as single rupee term deposits of rupees 3 crore and above. For local area banks, the threshold is set at 1 crore and above, similar to RRBs. To provide some context, let's briefly discuss the Monetary Policy Committee or MPC. Under the amended RBI Act of 1934, the central government is empowered to constitute a 6-member MPC. This committee includes 3 members from the RBI and 3 members appointed by the government. The MPC determines the policy repo rate required to achieve the inflation target. Each member has 1 vote, and in the event of a tie, the governor has a second or casting vote. These updates from the RBI highlight the ongoing efforts to stabilize the economy and promote financial stability while making regulatory processes more efficient.
Ahead in the news, in a major milestone for space exploration, Boeing Starliner has successfully docked a NASA crew at the International Space Station. The Starliner boasts an innovative, well-less, reusable structure that can last up to 10 missions with 6-month turnarounds and features wireless internet interfaces. Now let's dive deeper into the details of the International Space Station. The ISS is an artificial satellite research facility jointly developed by the USA, European countries, Japan, Canada, and Russia. It holds the title of the largest man-made and habitable artificial satellite. Positioned in near-Earth orbit, the ISS is about 400 kilometers above the Earth's surface. If we talk about the benefits of the International Space Station, these are numerous. Firstly, it plays a crucial role in research on Earth by collecting data and images that aid climate research, disaster monitoring and response, as well as studies on light pollution. Secondly, the ISS offers a new frontier in physics with its microgravity environment, enabling research on colloids, bubbles, and fluid behavior. In the realm of human health, the ISS is invaluable. Scientists use these microgravity tools such as protein crystals and tissue chips to study diseases, test drugs, and examine human biology. Additionally, the ISS supports the low Earth orbit economy by providing a platform for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and researchers to test their technology in space. Lastly, it contributes to the understanding of long-duration space travel, aiding research on the impact of space travel on humans and the feasibility of human habitats on Mars. Now let's talk about India's ambitious plan for its own space station. Currently in the conceptualization phase, ISRO is developing India's first space station, Bharatiya Antariksh Station. This station is planned to be assembled in a phased manner similar to the ISS, with completion targeted by 2035. Additionally, the upcoming Gaganyaan mission, expected to launch by 2026, will demonstrate India's capability to send humans into space, paving the way for its Ambition project. In conclusion, the ISS continues to be a beacon of international collaboration and scientific research, while India's upcoming space station signifies a bold step forward in its space ambitions. Moving on to the next news. In a significant release from the Global Trade Research Initiative or GTRI, an insightful report titled Building Better, India's Path to Superior Quality Infrastructure has been published. This report sheds light on key issues and provides valuable insights into how India can enhance its quality infrastructure. Let's delve into the details. First, let's understand what constitutes India's quality infrastructure. It includes standardization, quality control orders, and compulsory registration orders led by the Bureau of Indian Standards. QCOs implemented by BIS are mandatory regulatory standards ensuring products meet specific quality, safety, and performance benchmarks. CROs, similar to QCOs, require additional pre-registration of a firm with government agency. Alongside these, conformity assessment through third-party inspections, certifications, and accreditation, coordinated by the Quality Council of India, play crucial roles. The report highlights several key points. Despite the rapid issuance of QCOs and CROs, there is a need to augment each leg of the quality infrastructure. Since the implementation of the BIS Act in 2016, which simplified the process of notifying specific standards for products, over 140 QCOs have been issued for more than 550 products. However, this rapid pace has created implementation challenges for firms, importers, and government agencies. Now, what does the report recommend for improving quality infrastructure? It suggests that India should seek international accreditation for BIS certifications. Regulations should balance enforcement with industry capacity. Support for SMEs should include gradual implementation of QCOs and CROs, along with financial assistance and technical guidance. Additionally, conducting regulatory impact assessment is advised. The impact of QCOs has been significant. There has been a notable reduction in the import of substandard products and a decrease in consumer complaints and product recalls related to safety issues. Furthermore, there has been an increase in domestic electronics production and research and development spending in related sectors. These measures have also facilitated international trade. By addressing the recommendations and balancing regulatory measures, India can continue to improve product standards, support industry growth, and foster international trade. Ahead in the news, in an important update from the world of international finance, the 16th meeting of the OECD and G20 Inclusive Framework on Base Erosion and Profit Shifting or BEPS has been concluded. This framework is nearing the completion of negotiations on Pillar 1, while the global minimum tax agreed under Pillar 2 is in the process of being implemented in countries worldwide. Let's break down what is Base Erosion and Profit Shifting or BEPS. BEPS refers to tax planning strategies used by multinational enterprises that exploit gaps and mismatches in tax rules to avoid paying taxes. This is often done by artificially shifting profits to low or no tax locations where there is little or no economic activity, or by eroding tax bases through deductible payments such as interest or royalties. These practices disproportionately affect developing countries which rely more heavily on corporate income tax. In fact, BEPS practices cost countries between 100 to 240 billion US in lost revenue annually, which is equivalent to 4 to 10% of global corporate income tax revenue. Let's talk about the OECD and G20 Inclusive Framework on BEPS. It is a global initiative that brings together 147 countries and jurisdictions, including India, to fight tax avoidance and ensure fair tax practices. Established in the year 2016, this framework adopted a two-pillar approach. Pillar 1 focuses on the reallocation of part of the profits of the largest and most profitable multinational enterprises to countries where their consumers are present. Pillar 2 introduces a global minimum corporate tax or of 15% for multinational enterprises. The significance of the inclusive framework on BEPS cannot be overstated. It ensures fairness in tax systems and tackles tax avoidance, strengthening the international tax framework against evolving business models and digitalization of the economy. The GMCT is expected to raise up to $192 billion annually for both developed and developing countries. In conclusion, as negotiations on Pillar 1 near completion and the global minimum tax under Pillar 2 begins to take effect, the world moves closer to a fairer, more equitable tax system. The personality news for today is Rana Punja Bhil. Rana Punja Bhil was a tribal leader belonging to the Bhil tribe. Also, he was a contemporary of Maharana Pratap, who was a 16th century ruler of Mewar. Talking about his key contributions, he led the guerrilla warfare and restricted Mughal advances in Battle of Haldi Ghati 1576 between Maharana Pratap and the Mughal Emperor Akbar. Moreover, Maharana Pratap bestowed him with the title of Rana. Through his actions, he exemplified the values of courage, leadership, and more.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India issues new guidelines to streamline the process of appointing insolvency professionals as resolution professionals. IBBI is a statutory body under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 and its headquarters is in New Delhi. An MOU was signed between the Common Service Centres, Special Purpose Vehicle and the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to convert 10,000 farmer-producer organizations into Common Service Centres. FSSAI has issued advisory on unauthorized use of liquid nitrogen in food by food serving establishments. As per the Food Safety and Standards, Food Products Standards and Food Additives Regulation 2011, nitrogen is a good manufacturing practice additive. Israel is accused of using white phosphorus munitions in southern Lebanon. White phosphorus is a toxic substance produced from phosphate-containing rocks. It reacts and burns in air at temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius until deprived of oxygen. First human infection with avian influenza AH5N2 virus found in Mexico. Depending on the original host, influenza A viruses can be classified as avian influenza, swine influenza, or other types of animal influenza viruses. Cities across southern and western states in the USA are facing heat waves due to a weather phenomenon known as heat dome. Heat dome is a weather phenomenon where a ridge of high pressure gets stuck in the atmosphere. New research has revealed that orchid plants nurture their seedlings via an underground fungal network. Orchids are grown by seeds, tissue culture, and vegetative propagation. India is home to about 1,256 orchid species, of which only 11 are protected under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Researchers have found 2 antlion species for the first time in India, Thailand and Vietnam. Antlion belongs to a family of insects. Before we wrap up today's bulletin, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this edition of News Today. For the solutions to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.